athlete in the world. And I think a lot, you look at everybody that you're competing against and you're like, wow, I can beat them, and you know what it's going to take to do that. But that's kind of what got me up, to prove to myself that, I could do it. It wasn't like, I want to beat this, I want to beat the New Zealand team, or I want to beat the Brits. It was like, for me personally, I just wanted to be the best athlete that I could be. Once I kind of figured that that was what drove me, and that's what motivated me, I decided to look at the bit of okay, how can I be better every day? How do I wake up every morning and come back and go to sleep and be like, okay, I was a better athlete than I was yesterday.
Think you can win on talent alone? Gentlemen, you don't have enough talent to win on talent alone. Again.
As a matter of fact, very few to no athletes have enough talent to win on talent alone. And that's when flow comes into play, otherwise known as being in the zone.
Getting that zone is just a supreme confidence that you know it's going in. It's not a matter of if or this, that, it's going in. Things just slow down. And get in the zone, you just kind of stay there. You become oblivious to everything that's going on. You don't think about your surroundings or what's going on with the crowd or the team.
The flow concept is essentially that there's sort of a sweet spot that grows over time, wherein ability and challenge are at the perfect balance to feel this sort of flow state. So a basketball player, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, when those guys were flowing, they were just on autopilot. They had done so much work to get good here. This wasn't, you get the idea.
Flow states occur when your body or mind is stretched to its limit in a voluntary effort to accomplish something challenging and meaningful. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi is a Hungarian-American psychologist who recognized and named the psychological concept of flow. He stresses that the body does not produce flow merely by its movements alone. The mind is always involved. Without relevant thoughts, motives, and feelings, it would be impossible to achieve the discipline necessary to learn to perform well enough to enjoy it. This being said, experiencing flow is an essential ingredient to becoming a successful athlete. One must train mentally in order to experience flow and become the best possible athlete they can be. 90% of athletic performance is mental. Our thoughts influence our actions, and our actions influence our thoughts. Coaches often neglect and ignore the one area that ultimately separates successful athletes from those who do not reach their highest potential.
We did some NHL research, and we saw that the physical part, when athletes were selected by the NHL, physical differences between the best athletes that got drafted and the ones that didn't get drafted, 10% of the reason why they were drafted was because of physical differences. His technical knowledge, his ability to pass a puck or whatever it might be. 90% of the reason Patrick Kane was drafted by the Blackhawks, and name we never know, wasn't drafted by the Blackhawks, was because of his desire to win, his competitive attitude. And so it is interesting. Physical definitely matters, but as you get older, it drops rapidly.
A very heavy dose of successful strength training is mental. I think if you bring a sort of a lackadaisical mindset to strength training, you will get an average to sub-average product. If you want to be great, and if greatness just means personal growth or empowerment or any of the really cool lessons that come out of the weight room, then the mentality is plays a huge role.
How does one train their mind to get the most out of practices? How can an athlete overcome a setback or an injury and get back into the zone?
What do I do at practice every day to make the most of the practice? And it's not necessarily the result. It's not how you're doing, but it's what you're doing.
Motivation is this sort of thing, it's the sort of fuel that comes alongside of a well thought out and meaningful motive or purpose that allows you to sort of get out of bed and get to work even when you're not shaking with excitement.
Goal setting. Goal setting is a skill that helps you become more competitive. It helps improve performance. A variety of different reasons why goal setting is good.
When a goal is considered to be appropriate and achievable, individuals have high levels of motivation and hope regarding their ability to achieve it.
A trigger, something distracts them. A trigger helps restabilize, helps them get that focus back. A lot of athletes, what they'll have something that they've marked to help them trigger, whether it be, I've seen people where they put a little dot on their cleat, or they'll wear a special bracelet that reminds them of a family member, or something that's just oh yes, let me remember that I do love dancing, or I do love playing the flute, or oh yes, basketball, this is what I'm meant to be. Fear is a natural part of our brain, and we have to do triggers to help teach our brain don't behave that way. Visualization, thinking through what the future holds, it's like a superpower that everyone has, where you're basically thinking about an activity. What's going to happen when I get there? So I always like to think of it as the ability to see the future. It really is how cool would that be if you had a superpower of being able to see the future? By practicing the skill of visualization, you're creating the future. So you are seeing the future. Self-talk is kind of related to that as well. It's talking yourself up, getting inside your own head. And so, Barry, focus. Barry, you can hit that jumper. Barry, and because imagine when a coach is coaching you, they're using your first name. They're not going, I should do. No, it's using. So doing that third person, a great way. I think self-talk is a great skill. The main difference between someone who uses behavioral mental skills and someone who doesn't, the main difference is just going to be, I think, being a big sense of control. You don't realize you have all these behavioral mental tools you can use. A feeling of helplessness I've seen. It's just the athlete so I'm just not, I'm only as good as I can be, and this is where I'm at. The biggest difference I've seen is having more of a growth mindset of being versus a fixed mindset. That someone who they get down on themselves because they don't realize, I can feel better about my performance, and I can change how well I do if I embrace mental skills. So I think part of it is kind of going back to time for happiness, your joy and feeling of satisfaction out of a sport. When you start using mental skills, you realize that there's so much in our control over how we perform in a sport. I think the biggest difference I've noticed is just this positivity after you start using mental skills. Mental skills for everyone are important, whether you're going to actually, make it to the NFL or not.
Athletes who take what they've learned about mental training and apply it to their everyday life are not only going to be mentally strong athletes, but they'll be mentally strong people, which lasts a lifetime. So find your flow. Find what brings you satisfaction and joy and go with that. Push past your limits to set the bar even higher. You'll find yourself loving what you do and succeeding with every step.
My name is Barry Tarter. I am founder of Igss Sports. The company's mission was founded on basically helping all athletes achieve the success they need to achieve.
My name is Jim Davis. I'm the Staff and Student Wellness Coordinator here at New Trier. I've been in charge of strength and conditioning and athletic performance for almost 10 years now. I'm also the director of a nonprofit organization called the Good Athlete Project, which really focuses on maximizing the potential of athletics as education and allowing the lessons learned in an athletic atmosphere to transfer into the rest of one's life. I have a master's degree in human development and psychology with a focus on cognitive neuroscience